All right, 7 o'clock. April, are you ready?
Yep.
All right, this time I'd like to call to order the March 15th regular meeting of Gahanna City Council and ask for the invocation and pledge by Mrs. McGregor. You're on mute, Nancy.
Thank you. Father God, we ask your blessing and wisdom as we decide the issues for the citizens of Gahanna. We thank you that our students are largely back at school this week. We ask for your protection on the men and women of our police and military forces. Amen. To the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
April, roll call. And if you're not a member of council, could you please go on mute?
Angelou?
Here.
Bowers?
Here.
Eric?
Here.
Leesburg?
Here.
McGregor? Here. Renner?
Here.
Schnetzer?
Okay, thank you. Any additions or corrections to the agenda this evening? And hearing of visitors, I have not seen any requests to speak this evening. April, do you have anything?
I have nothing.
And the consent agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
So moved. This is Renner.
Moved by Mr. Renner. Is there a second?
Second. Angelou.
Moved by Mr. Renner, seconded by Mrs. Angelou. Roll call.
Renner?
Yes.
Angelou?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Lyric?
Yes.
Leesburg?
Yes.
McGregor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Moving to item 3. Item 3, ordinances for second reading. We have ordinance 0007 2021 and ordinance authorizing supplemental appropriation. This is a variety of supplementals. 1 second.
I think you're in the consent agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I not scroll down far enough?
Yeah, one more.
Yep, one more. Got it. Ordinance for introduction and first reading.
Mr. President, I'll introduce the items.
Thank you. And item F, ordinances for introduction, waiver, and emergency adoption. We have ordinance 0011 2021, ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with iVideo Technologies for the upgrade of the audio video system in council chambers, waiving second reading and declaring an emergency. Is there a motion to adopt 0011, waiving second and declaring an emergency?
So moved, Mr. Leesburg.
Moved by Mr. Leesburg. Is there a second?
Second, Renner.
We have a motion by Mr. Leesburg and a second by Mr. Renner. Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Leesburg?
Yes.
Renner?
Yes.
Lyric?
Yes.
McGregor?
Yes.
Angelou?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Correspondence and actions. Madam Clerk, do you have anything?
I do not.
And council, anything from members of council? And moving to representatives, the Community Improvement Corporation, Mr. Leesburg.
I believe we have a meeting tomorrow morning at 8 a.m.
Thank you. Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission, Mrs. Angelou.
Well, I have to say this is going to be a fast meeting if I've ever seen one. So I'll try to read all my 10 pages real fast. What can I say? We had a chance at our last meeting, which was last Thursday, to kind of go over what's happened in the past year, because obviously it was our first anniversary of our last meeting before virtual took over. So we had the chance to really kind of get together and show exactly what MORPC is working hard all the time. And so that was a very, I think, poignant time for us, because it's been 1 year since we've been out of our place. To advance important diversity and inclusion efforts and better help our communities, our speaker was YWCA Columbus President and CEO Christy Angel. And she highlighted our efforts in the community and expanded upon MORPSE's new partnership with the YWCA. The partnership brings MORPSE members new opportunities for trainings and services on anti-racism and racial equality. And the Racial Equality Foundation's applications workshop will take place April 20th, April 29th, and May 6th. And you can register for that session if you would like to. And MORPSE members are also receiving 15% discounts on additional contracted services. We did lose a member from some years ago. Pat Monahan, who was the mayor at Shawnee Hills, passed away after a courageous battle with cancer. So that was a sad point for us. We have the State of the Region coming up March 31st, 11:30 to 1. Of course, it's virtual. We actually have a wonderful keynote speaker, Jonathan Rose, as well as we have shown two of the recipients now that will be receiving awards. Kim Maggard, Mayor Maggard from Whitehall, and Trudy Bartley from Ohio State. We also are getting ready to, I was there today to do the video on the Habig Award, which is a secret at this point. So I will be introducing that one. We have a summer intern program. We discussed that, and I wish we could get one here. So maybe we can find a little money to be able to help the mayor and her people that are working so hard to for an intern that sometimes end up working for the place that they've interned. Supporting the passenger rail service. With Amtrak considering improved and new services in Ohio, we are seeking letters of support, and I believe Mayor Jadwin is going to write, or maybe has already written the letter of support of this. It's very interesting. This is between would take it through the big C's and Dayton, and it's, I think, about 2035 maybe that Amtrak is looking to do this. But if we can get Amtrak in here and rail service in here, and we are doing passenger rail very fast rail service, working on that now. So this is a really important thing, and hopefully we will be successful. The COVID-19 Resource Hub is on the MORPSE website. Vision Zero Columbus was talked about, and this is about taking their many accidents that cause deaths to a zero amount. So they get at least 50 a year, I guess, from accidents. The March board meeting highlights for MORPSE secretary. We talked about the nominating committee. Those will be voted on next at the April meeting. Ohio University Voinovich Academy for Excellence in Public Service Director Jay Johnson provided a brief overview of MORPSE's ongoing partnership with the Ohio University Voinovich School of Leadership and Public Affairs. We are now partners in a governing essentials for local elected officials, training targeted toward newly elected officials or those seeking a refresher to gain a high-level understanding of topics related to local government. And it's, if you're part of MORPSE and any one of our officials here, as well as people can go there and get $1,000 off of a scholarship too. So it's really a nice little thing going on for the people that work at MORPSE, and I think that it's the people that work at our members as well. Let me see here. We are advancing MORPSE's strategic framework on service to the region and local governments, and that we are an upcoming focus session on member resources April 23rd. The Rapid 5 initiative has a goal of connecting our region's major waterways, Big Walnut, Alum, Olentangy, Scioto, and Big Derby, and that includes Gahanna. So that's a wonderful thing that we're trying to get those together and working on that, and that's being done by Kirsten Carr. The newly announced Franklin County Digital Equity Coalition is looking to develop a holistic, sustained approach to digital inclusion beyond COVID-19. And this is our Aaron Schill is doing that. This is really a very important thing to do. And when we were at the NARC convention, we heard, I think every one that I went to at the NARC convention, it was broadband, 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 broadband. So we have Digital Equality Coalition that is trying to help all of the members to have that. Resolutions were adopted to enter into a contract with the Sonoma Technology for our air quality forecasting services. They've been there for a long time. And amend the Transportation Improvement Program adjustments for CODA. And then we also did Kegler, Brown, Hill, and Ritter. They are our government relations services, and their contract was renewed. The Regional Data Advisory Committee has its first meeting of the year coming up. Regional Policy Roundtable, the update focused on the American Rescue Plan. We all know that that's passed now, and I'm waiting for my little check in the mail. I don't know about anybody else. So that is it's a very interesting situation with all of these very large amounts of money being spent. The Sustainability Advisory Committee, this was a highlight because Jim Schimmer, you know Jim, of course, Stephen, that indeed he had the best joke I've ever heard. He always has his little funny things to say, and this one was really, really good, and actually made Facebook. It was that good. But Dr. Carr again presented the Central Ohio Greenways story map, and you can see that also highlighting the regional trail vision prioritization. So if you can check that one also, I believe, on our website. And the Transportation Policy Committee, the update highlighted the upcoming process of ODOT's Transportation Review Advisory Council for major new projects. We have a Regional Housing Strategy Peer Exchange coming up March 18th. Aaron Schill will be on a panel dealing with solving the affordable housing puzzle at the Columbus Metropolitan Club Forum. And I would guess that that's about it. Long meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. We're not done yet. Convention and Visitors Bureau, Mr. Leesburg.
Yeah, thank you. The offices of Visit Gahanna have officially moved to the Herb Center at 110 Mill Street. Visitor Center and Gift Shop are open from 10 to 6 on Monday through Friday and 10 to 4 on Saturdays. There will be an annual report presentation. It's a video that'll be available at the end of March. Link will be available on Visit Gahanna website and Facebook page. Herb Day is scheduled for Saturday, May 1st from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. We'll include a plant sale and vendors. Pre-orders will be available for plant sale. The location is new this year. It'll be actually at Veterans Memorial Park. The 2021 Creekside Blues and Jazz Festival. Yeah, you heard me right. We're having a Jazz Fest. It's September 17th to the 19th with limited capacity in 2 stages. More details to come. There were advertisements placed this month. Good Housekeeping Magazine, Women's Day, promoting the Girlfriend's Getaway idea, and the Ohio Magazine, promoting outdoor recreation were run this month. And Ohio Herb Center is partnering with the VA to offer workshops on a variety of topics for veterans. So follow that on Visit Gahanna's website or the Facebook page. That's all I've got tonight. Thanks.
Thank you. And I don't have anything from the school board, and Mr. Schnitzer, I don't believe, has joined us yet this evening. Official reports, Madam Mayor.
Yes, thank you very much. Shortly before council, you should have received my mayor's report for this week. I believe council clerk will go ahead and affix that to the agenda. At the beginning of that report is information on the statewide mass vaccinations that are happening this week. For those who are listening in, there is a website to go to get information to find out if you're eligible, where the locations are, and to sign up, and that is gettheshot, all in one word, .coronavirus.ohio.gov. So that'll tell you if you're eligible to receive one and where you can go. You may have seen Smart 911 has rolled out. Smart 911 is a free service that we are very pleased to offer. It allows individuals to subscribe to 911 and create a profile and provide additional information that would be very helpful to dispatchers to pass along when they are sending fire, EMS, police to your home to respond. What are your health conditions? Do you have a dog in the house? Do you have anyone in a wheelchair? And it uploads your information. It's all kept very, very private. But it will enable them to be able to react much quicker and much more efficiently when they have to, unfortunately, if they have to have a 911 call to your home. But it is a great service that will enhance customer service from our first responders. As many of you know, Gahanna schools returned to in-person learning today. I talked to Superintendent Barrett probably about an hour and a half ago, and he said it was a lot like the first day of school in August, except that it's March. So when you think about it, there are parents who are freshmen, parents of freshmen in the high school, or parents of sixth graders who this was their first day of school. They've never gone through this before. So in anticipation of the traffic congestion, our police department assigned some additional patrol, certainly to the high school area, but as well as some of the other school locations that tend to have a little bit heavier traffic. And Superintendent Barrett actually called to express his appreciation and thanks for that added support. He said it was a great help to them. And I know our officers will still be on hand this week until people get used to the new traffic patterns. With that, I wanted to share, we will be reopening City Hall with limited access through the building on April 5th. So previously, I think it was earlier this summer when we had the restrictions had started to relax a bit. We had opened City Hall at that point. We had stanchions in the front of the building, and people could not walk through the building, but we kept it very limited in terms of where people were going throughout. We will operate that same way, but we will take a precautionary measure to reopening as we do that, still encouraging everybody from that point on to do as much as they can online or by phone so that we could keep access in the building as limited as possible. There's still a great deal that needs to happen in terms of vaccination rollouts, et cetera, certainly amongst our staff as well. And we want to be as precautionary as we can as we begin that reintroduction into normalcy. The last thing I would want to speak to you about, and I appreciate your time thus far, but I know that several of you have reached out to me this week regarding some recent crime-related incidents that we've had in the city. We understand that these incidents, even though they are isolated and targeted, generate fear when they're viewed in the collective. It is important to note that these incidents are not limited to Gahanna. Over the last 5 weeks, we have seen a significant uptick, I should say, in incidents involving criminal activity throughout the Columbus area. If you haven't seen the news just in the past couple of days, there were 2 shootings in Reynoldsburg on Friday in close proximity to their high school. There was a running gun battle in Bexley on Friday night, which is 2 cars driving past each other, shooting gunfire at each other. And today, if you have not yet caught the news, there was a second report of shots being fired within Polaris Mall. So Gahanna is certainly not immune to what is happening around us. And these are troubling times, no doubt. It is so rare for anything like this to happen in Gahanna. So we fully understand and expect that our residents are going to have questions and they're going to have comments and concerns. Last week, we put out a public service announcement video with Director Wynn, Chief Spence, and myself to reassure our residents that no matter what the circumstances, our police are here to serve and to protect them. There are, we can't promise that we can put an end to all of these things, but there are two promises that we can always keep. Number one, we will always communicate with our residents in a proactive and clear manner to make sure that they have the information that they need. If there's something going on, you will know about it. And if there's something to be concerned about, you will know about it. The second thing is that our Gahanna PD will take every measure that they can to continue to serve and protect this community. Gahanna has prided itself for a very long time in being a very safe, family-friendly community, and we intend to keep it that way. So if anybody has any questions regarding what is happening, how we're operating, what the crime trends are, I know our police department is working hand in hand with every other law enforcement agency, not only in every other municipality, but through the county and through the state as well. They are always happy to answer any questions or concerns. So if any of our residents have any questions or concerns, or if any of you do, I would encourage you to reach out directly to either Director Wynn or to Chief Spence and talk with them and ask, and please pose your questions or concerns to them, and they'd be happy to provide you with information. And actually, to that point, Councilwoman McGregor, I think I owe you a response because that's sitting on my desk to a question that you had raised last week. So I know Chief Spence has been asking me if I've reviewed that to get that to you, and I will make sure that I get you that response later this evening. So thank you very much. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mayor.
Actually, I've raised my hand.
Hi, Karen. Go ahead.
Thank you. Mayor, I've watched the video. I was just kind of strolling through and it was really so well done. And I want to thank you for putting that out there, because when you kept going, changing people, making the great statements that were made, it was very, very good.
Well, I appreciate that, and I know our communications director Karen Wester's on the line here, so I will pass that kudos
Nice
to her.
job, Karen. It was beautifully done.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Thank you. City Attorney Ray, are you on?
Yes, I am. I don't have anything further to add.
Okay. Thanks, Ray. With that, we'll move to, it looks like council comment. And Ms. Angelou.
Well, I wish everybody to have a nice, wonderful week. We have March Madness, and our Buckeyes are there. And wow, that was so sad that they didn't, beat Illinois yesterday, because I think they would have been a 1 seed. I think, but what do I know? But so we have to, root for our Buckeyes. Ohio U is in as well, so we're doing well with that. And I think it'll give us a chance to unstress ourselves, hopefully, and enjoy all the wonderful things that March Madness brings in. I'd like to also state that a Planning Commission member, a friend of mine, Bobby Burba, Heartland Bank person, became ill and is doing better now, and we can certainly hope that, and we now know that prayers really do work very, very well. So if you could just keep her in your thoughts and prayers. I understand that the Planning Commission was really, really working hard for her to get out of the hospital, and she is, as well as the fact that they sent her flowers too, and that meant a whole lot to her. So thank you, and hopefully keep her in your thoughts and prayers, please. That's all I got.
Thank you, Karen. Ms. Bowers.
You're
on.
muted.
Sorry, guys. Just briefly, I have attached my constituent report for February, and April has included that on a link on the agenda. I am appreciative of the work that is certainly going on with the city, and appreciate the presentation that the mayor and interim development director Jen 6 gave to the Creekside District Alliance last week. I thought it was a really great presentation to sort of set out a vision of and value set of how we see development sort of moving forward in this community. So thank you to the mayor for that, and I certainly encourage council members to review that, or perhaps we'll get a presentation like that from the mayor and Gen 6 at some time in the future. Thank you to Mr. Lyric. We have revised the resolution. We'll be discussing that at committee next week on reviving civility, and I appreciate all the dialogue and discussion that has generated. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Leesburg. You're on mute.
I will attest that school is back. The high schoolers, I guess, have longer periods, so I'm hearing about how long 80 minutes is in somebody's life. We talked about that, and they were getting used to having half as many people at school at one time. So it's been the topic of the day. But other than that, I think that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Renner.
Yeah, thank you. I'm actually scheduled to get my first shot at the shot later this month, so I'm looking forward to that. And I also want to thank the mayor, Chief Spence, and Keith Wynn for that statement that was put on Facebook. It's really good. Got a lot of comments from people on the west side looking for, some answers. And I think the key was actually saying, publicly that these are not public threat issues, but they were targeted. And we're also feeling the spillover effect from Central Ohio, so, from Columbus. So that's a really good thing. Well, good thing to know is what I mean. It's a bad thing. Anyway, I'm tired. I have no other comments.
Thanks, Mr. Turner. Mr. McGregor.
I was wanted to, I went to I've gone before to the Division of Wildlife puts on a wildlife diversity program every year, and this year it was virtual, and they had 1,600 people attend, and they had, just so we know we're not alone, they had their fair share of difficulties getting 1,600 people on a Zoom call. So it ended up working out, but we're not the only ones to have issues with this. So, but it was on threats to birds, how the bird population around the world have declined, and how they've come up with some ideas of how to, some simple things that aren't super expensive, like the rice paddies in California. After the rice is harvested, they drain it. Well, if they could delay that by a week or two when the migrating birds are going through, it would help out a whole lot. So it's not hugely expensive things to do. It's just maybe the timing of some of the things that the farmers and different people could do that would help out the bird populations. The second and third discussions were on millipedes. Believe it or not, there's a field guide to millipedes in Ohio. I didn't even know there were. And the last one was mussels. Water mussels, and so and clams. So the last one was done by on mussels and clams was done by Dr. Michael Hogarth, who, back when the island was first developed and they saw how many people were in the water, Jim had to ask him to come down, and they did a study of the water. Now it's probably been 30 years ago, but they did a study on what kind of critters were there, which helped determine the quality of the water. And at that time, the water quality was very high, so gave the city people a little ease that with so many people in the water, that the water was fairly safe. So that's all I have. It was an interesting conference, all in all.
Thank you. Trying to think. Yes, last week, Ms. Bowers and I spent a couple of hours going through the resolution and making some changes. It was a good dialogue. Schools are back in session. House was empty today. It has been empty a couple of days a week, but now every day it'll be interesting. And yeah, safety throughout the region is something that I think that we are all becoming more aware of, especially with the continuing events throughout the region, in all areas of the region. I'm glad to live in a city that I can walk around. As I've always said, that my wife and I walk. We walk late at night, oftentimes, because that's the only time when there seems to be actual time available to us. And I would have no hesitation walking literally anywhere in the city, anywhere at any time of the day. And I just distinctly appreciate that. That is a representation of not only our police force, but also our community as a whole. And with that, we would ask for a motion to adjourn by unanimous consent.
So moved.
Thank you. Have a good evening, everyone.
Right.